Live, local, late breaking. This is Newswatch 12 this morning.
Good morning. The time is 6:30 on January 7th. Welcome to Newswatch 12 this morning. I'm Carlos Murrieta. Right now we're taking a live look out at South Medford from Coquille Casino and Resort. Our camera's looking a little wet right there, so you get some raindrops. With that, let's go ahead and turn over to Storm Alert Weather 12 meteorologist Sarah Kress for a look at our Wednesday. And Sarah, just how much activity are we seeing out there right now?
Well, right now it's kind of dwindling down a little bit, but that doesn't mean we're not tracking out some very slick conditions along our passes. We're getting some returns into our radar, mainly along the Cascades. Currently, this is all coming down as snow levels this morning as low as about 3,000 feet into some areas, but up to about 3,500 for some. Here's a look out at those passes. Chains are required if you're along 138 for Diamond Lake, and I would recommend traveling the next few days. If you have to go through the passes, those chains are going to be your friend. We're going to see conditions deteriorate even more so as we switch over late into this morning, through this afternoon, into the evening, even overnight. Here's a look east side where roads are slick for some as well. Now, and along the Siskiyou Summit, we are seeing some snow. Expect to see some slick road conditions, but again, we'll see worse conditions later today. So here's what we can expect. More rounds of rain and snow is going to be working its way in by the time we're in midday, and we'll see most of that snow accumulation starting off about 3,500 feet, but snow levels do drop a bit as cold air moves in behind this front. Winds are going to be a bit blustery as well as we see that front move inland, especially for the mountains and areas east side. High temperatures today are going to be a bit colder. We have 44 for Medford, 43 for Grants Pass. We have 46 for Wairika, 40 for Klamath Falls, and only 49 for along the coast. And we do have the possibility for some thunderstorms in the mix, mainly into Curry County for us today, but maybe a stray thunderstorm into Josephine County as well. And when it does come to that pass travel, like I mentioned, this morning looking pretty bad, and it's only going to get worse from there with that next round of precipitation moving in. So your Wednesday and your Thursday, if you can avoid pass travel, I'd strongly recommend. And even as we switch over into tomorrow morning, we could see some hazardous travel for some lower elevations as well. We do now have winter alerts in place, where winter weather advisory for some areas over to our west side, still dealing with it into the Klamath Basin and also portions of Lake County. And then we'll see that set in for western Siskiyou County later this afternoon. On top of that, we still do have that winter storm warning in place along the Cascades and Siskiyous. So I'll give you a little bit more details on what you can expect with this next round of precipitation all in your next forecast. Carlos?
Thank you, Sarah. And with winter weather arriving, especially in higher elevation areas, officials are reminding you to be prepared as you hit the roads this morning. Now let's go ahead and check in with Newswatch 12's Danny Stepanovich, who's near the Mount Ashland ski area right now. And Danny, how are things looking right now?
Thanks, Carlos. Yeah, live out here, not too far away from the Mount Ashland ski area. Right now, it's pretty calm right now. A little bit of rain and drizzle the last 30 minutes. About an hour ago, I got to experience snowfall for the first time in my life. Very exciting, meaning winter weather is starting to pick up, and with that, officials are reminding drivers of some safety precautions. Before you head out the door this morning, you're gonna wanna make sure you have tread on those tires and they're inflated. You're also gonna wanna avoid using cruise control on the roads today, reduce those speed temperatures, and leave yourself plenty of distance in between the car in front of you. With these winter weather conditions, it may be a slight headache for drivers, but a huge win and great news for snowboarders, skiers, ski resorts, and even seasonal workers. As our local ski areas have struggled with the winter, they're finally seeing some relief in the forecast. The ski area is reopening today with limited terrain. They will open additional terrain and lifts as soon as snow conditions allow. Details on what areas will be open and which won't can be found on our website. And another reminder for drivers headed out the door this morning to keep an eye on Trip Check and Caltrans for real-time updates on weather, traffic, and road conditions. Back to you guys live in Ashland, Danny Stepanovich.
All right, thank you so much, Danny. And onto our top story, Eagle Point Police is investigating what they describe as a large-scale animal neglect case. Officers estimate between 40 and 60 dogs were found inside a home, and a woman was arrested on multiple charges. Police Chief Jim Hamilton told us that the conditions were so extreme, multiple dogs were found dead.
This was way worse than what we expected. We anticipated it was going to be bad, but we didn't expect it to be as bad as it is. This is probably one of the worst that I've seen.
Police served a search warrant at the home after what they describe as a nearly 2-year investigation, driven by repeated complaints and growing concerns from neighbors. Eagle Point Police told me that it's been a long time coming to execute this warrant.
This has been kind of a culmination of about 2 years investigation. We've been trying to work with the owner for a couple of years now to try to rectify the situation. Ultimately, there was not a change. We weren't seeing anything happen. It was getting worse. By the time that we got to the door, we're estimating anywhere from 40 to 60 animals inside. We're doing the investigation now. Officers are starting to get inside to start checking, and we're finding multiple deceased animals inside as well.
Police say the dogs were kept inside the home and conditions were so severe that officers and veterinarians needed protective equipment just to enter. We spoke with a neighbor who told us she's experienced the situation firsthand.
An odor that is definitely unpleasant. The sound of barking. Sometimes I'm 2 doors down and I can sometimes hear the dogs in my house with the doors closed. It's a tragedy for her, for the dogs, for all around. It's very, very sad.
Despite the emotional toll, police say cases like this are complex, requiring time, resources, and outside help to ensure the animals are cared for properly.
Animal control doesn't have the ability to hold these animals. We're really working with a lot of resources to help us.
Police say the investigation is still ongoing and more charges are expected as evidence is processed. They say their priority right now is stabilizing the surviving animals and making sure this doesn't happen again. Reporting in Eagle Point, I'm Samantha Cadera.
Moving into an update, preliminary results are in this morning for the recall election in Josephine County. Unofficial results show that voters approved the recall, and as of 11 p.m. last night, nearly 62% voted yes, while about 38% voted no. The recall follows a petition effort that gathered more than 6,400 signatures, and Barnett previously called the recall unfounded, pointing to accomplishments including a library lease agreement and the return of the 4-H extension program. Officials say results will continue to be updated with final certification expected by early February. And we have new information this morning on the death of Northern California Congressman Doug LaMalfa. The Butte County Sheriff's Office says LaMalfa was rushed to Inlow Health in Chico Monday night after a medical emergency at his home in Richvale. A 911 call came in around 6:50 p.m. and he was taken into emergency surgery where he later died. Friends say he had been experiencing stomach pain before suffering what they described as a local aortic aneurysm. The coroner's office is continuing to investigate the official cause of death. And with the passing of Congressman Doug LaMalfa, has left California's 1st District seats vacant. California will need to hold a special election to replace LaMalfa soon, but what does that process look like? Well, I did some digging, and here's what happens next. Vacancy in California's 1st District seat has occurred with an entire year remaining in LaMalfa's current term, which began its 2nd year on January 3rd. In the state of California, the responsibility to call for a special election falls on the governor when a congressional seat becomes vacant. Unlike the Senate, where appointments can be made, the Constitution mandates that any replacement for the House of Representatives must be elected. This means California Governor Gavin Newsom must call for a special election to fill LaMalfa's seat. The special election must be held between 126 to 140 days after the governor's announcement. This timeline suggests this special election could coincide with California's June 2nd primary. Proposition 50 maps are set to go into effect in the midterms this year. While the redrawn districts were approved last November, a special election to fill LaMalfa's seat would mean voters would decide who serves the remainder of LaMalfa's current term under the old district map. If the special election is scheduled for the June primaries, voters may have to vote twice for some candidates, once for the current term and once for the newly drawn district. Meanwhile, LaMalfa's death is being recognized from a local to national level, the president even honoring LaMalfa during his speech this week.
To express our tremendous sorrow at the loss of a great member, great member, Congressman Doug LaMalfa. who passed away. And I was really saddened by his passing and was thinking about not even doing the speech in his honor.
Oregon Representative Cliff Benz honoring LaMalfa by saying, "I was deeply saddened to learn of the passing of my friend and colleague. Doug was not only a neighbor across state lines, but also a neighbor across the hall in Congress. This comes as the two were working together to pass a bill to federally delist the wolf." More details on LaMalfa's death can be found on our website. And moving into a follow-up story, Ashland's inclement weather shelter on 2200 Ashland Street has been open for just over a month. They are now gearing up for the colder weather over the next few days. And while the facility opened in early December, construction work continued mainly in the kitchen and laundry rooms. Dan Kano, OHRA's executive director, says everything is now ready to go. And Ashland Mayor Tanya Graham says she sees the shelter as a positive addition to the community, allowing residents to have new responsibilities and relationships.
What we find, though, is as it is being used now, and as people can see that it is tidy and it is operating in a good way, that some of those concerns are being alleviated. So that's a really big, important part of what it takes to make sure that a facility like this is seen by the wider community as a really positive addition.
The shelter is set to open starting today until Friday, opening its doors at 5 p.m. For more information, you can head on over to our website at kdrv.com.